Holy One.
Hello, beautiful. How
How
are
are
you?
you? Oh, I am well, I am well. Ha
I'm good.
So
Thank
we've
you.
been we've been planning this call for months, haven't we?
Yeah. And that's okay. I when you had the time is when we were gonna do it.
And we ended up on 4-4, so how cool is that?
Right? The 4-4 portal.
4-4.
And I have so much energy through just going through me right now. It's like I can't calm down.
Oh my
Oh.
goodness. All right. Well, we're going to have a wonderful space. I know it. I know it. So, is it all right with you? You could refresh my memory if we have other things we designated to speak on, but I do know you have experience now with you've experienced the video course of AQE and you've experienced a live course of AQE, and you've also been implementing. You've been witnessing the
Yes.
implementation. So, where would you like to start? I know you just have so much wonderful information to share with what this space is like and helping others get a peek inside of it, maybe. You know what I mean? Um, what would you like to share?
Well, where I'll start is so I have been a multidimensional quantum healer for a while now. And a medium to where I could tap into other people and tell other people about their past lives, the Akashic records, and all that. But I couldn't do it for myself. I could help everybody else find their consciousness, but I could not find it for me
Mhm.
until I did a Cosma with you. And do you see that light flickering? As I just said that. Confirmation. Anyways, as soon as I did my first session, and I say session because to me, all of what you do are Cosma sessions when you take us deep
Mhm.
and help us and bring in the flow of the Cosma energy. But the first time I did the new human session with you, I was able to go deep and I was able to find me. And that's the first time that I was able to get there. And it was like, aha, finally, I finally got there. So Acasma has helped me heal the spaces in me to be able to find and remember who I am. And that's what I've done is found my I am.
I love
I
it.
found my I am presence. I am able to see who I was, where I came from, and where I'm going. And it's beautiful.
I love it. You know, this is such a big space that we could bring forth to the world. That's whoever's ready to hear it. But you were a medium, are a medium, were a medium in the sense of when you walked into this space of you expanding here. You were sensing energy, feeling energy, registering energy. There's so many people out there that will say that they relate to that, but they aren't picking up on their own, or they have a hard time, feeling as if they're picking up everybody else's. They're sensing everybody else's. And are you
Right.
able to say, are you able to confirm, and only speak your truth? But we teach in Acasma that one of the main things Acasma does is it's self-expansion first, to where you really know you get to understand your own energy, you get to understand your own abilities, and you get to trust in that. And then you go, like what we would say, like maybe back into what we're
Right.
doing and or connecting with others. So can you share on does it bring clarity to people that are
Oh,
sensitive to energies? And
that's exactly what it is. Everything, once I got there and I had that session, every bit of me and my abilities unfolded. It was like the whole, everything just expanded all into one.
Mhm.
And what I love about a Cosma is while multidimensional healing, we look for what's wrong. But with the Cosmo, we don't do that.
Mhm.
We look for what's right,
Mhm.
what we are able to be. And that is me. I'm able to be me,
Mhm.
find who I am, and be the one with all.
I love it. I love
So
it.
I'm able to bring every bit of what I've done before, because you don't lose it. It's still there, but you just use it with the Acasma and it's just all one. And to
Mhm.
feel the energy in these classes and to see what people are sharing, and being in the little mini groups, and the pods of light, and sharing and listening, and receiving other people sharing, there's a lot of validation there, a
Yes.
lot of love in there,
Yes.
a lot of just, me. I thrive on love. I just want everybody to know what the love is from source,
Mm.
the universe, because that's what heals everything. And that's what a Cosma is. A Cosma is just pure love energy.
I love that. I love that. And when you said we look for what's right, that's such an important part of what we do in a cosmic quantum energy. We do look for what's right first and foremost, which is very different than most modalities, most healing modalities. And this is also an ascension modality. It assists awakening, activation of the remembrance. But when you come in looking for what's right, you're automatically at a different flow.
Higher.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're at a totally different flow. So when you meet the person in the session space and you're looking for what's right in them, their divinity, their sovereignty, their wholeness, now you've met them in that space and you get to witness it and take it in. It's very emotional in a good way. But now, because you've acknowledged it as the facilitator, that is being pinged or emanated or vibrated through the field to them to see and feel it for themselves.
I validate that. I
Yes, thank
validate that
you. Thank you.
100%.
Okay. So, and these spaces you mentioned, the pods, that's another good thing we could share here. So we have a free space. Somebody says this all sounds good, but I don't have the investment for the course that I see on this website yet. And add the word yet to your sentence if you're saying that sentence, because you can have it. It can be aligned for you. Be open to the blessings of the universe. It can come in many different ways. But if it's not aligned right now, she mentioned the pods. So, what are those? So, we have a free space, a community that we offer for free called the Acasma Planet of Light and Healing Grid. And we meet on Zoom once a month. We do this work she's speaking of. And we do it for the self, and we do it for the group, the collective of Acasma that we are, and we do it for the planet and its inhabitants. Then we have these beautiful chat rooms we call pods of light that we have on a server app called Discord. And they're private to us. So we're not in any other flow of news or religion or science or anything else. It's just us. It's just us. And it's really nice. It's a really beautiful space. It's a nurturing space. It's a safe space. I think a lot of light workers coming into this, a Cosma Quantum Energy, a Cosma Pods of Light, I think they're feeling safe for the first time, if maybe ever. And I think they're feeling their own energy for the first time, if maybe ever, and their voice, their voice. And you mentioned sharing and how important that is. And we get some big shares in there on what people are
We do.
seeing and witnessing and experiencing in the most beautiful ways. We're witnessing the miracle of a species shifting its consciousness.
And what's so beautiful about it are they're feeling safe enough to share things that, and know that they're not going to be judged. There's no
And these,
judgment there,
yeah, and that's it. There's no judgment. And the thing is, these things would be maybe regular world would be like, what?
right?
But you can say, I saw this being, or I saw this space, or I saw this, or felt this. And it's such a beautiful, safe space of love and acceptance. And it goes right along with the Acasma, slogans or mottos. It's you are safe and you are loved.
Yes, very much so. And that's what you feel. You feel that in there. Um, I also wanted to share how much this has helped my son.
Mm. Tell whatever you want to tell, Barbie. I know that this is a bigger space of your life. So share what you feel you would
Well,
want to share.
yeah, My son was shot in the head, um, January 31st of 2020. He survived, and he could not communicate. He could not laugh. He had no, he couldn't decipher his emotions or anything. He would cry for every emotion. He couldn't carry a conversation. He could talk, but not carry on a conversation. He would go back to 5 year old, 15 years old, and 28, 25, 28. It would vary. And he's 33 now. And that was for a good 3 years. And up until just recent, I started doing the quantum healing on him, and that got better. But once I started doing a Cosma on him, Andre, he is lucid. He stays at the age of 33. He holds conversation with us. He's starting to he hasn't had movement in his left arm or hand since the accident. And I call it an accident, but it wasn't an accident. But that justice has been done, taken care of also. But since then, since I started a Cosma on him, he's getting movement in his left arm, and he's opening and closing his hand. So nobody will ever convince me that a Cosma is not real, that a Cosma does not work. When he's acting out and having a fit, because he gets pretty mean sometimes, but that's with a traumatic brain injury, that happens. I go in the other room, or I sit in the chair in his room, and I start putting my hands 6 to 8 inches apart, and I call in the Acasma flow, and I fill the room with it, and I fill him with it. And he falls asleep. And when he goes to sleep, it's like a reset for him. So when he wakes up, he's better.
That's beautiful. Wow.
So it's just beautiful. And for those that feel like they're not in a place where they can afford the course, there is always your book.
Oh, thank you for mentioning. Yes, it's so activating. I've had people reach out that have gotten the book. I think it's $24 on Amazon, maybe,
Yeah.
and I sell it on my Etsy shop for 35. I sign it and send it to you, but they've said they've never taken the course. They've just read the book, and they're already experiencing shifts in their lives, changes in their lives, expansion, healing, clearing, separate, different spaces. But thank you for mentioning that. And there's the YouTube channel. So there's class upon class upon class for free. Even some of them are straight from the course. I did extra bonus classes and I threw them up on YouTube. Yeah, there's a lot of ways you can connect with this material for very little monetary amount and or for free. And even the grid work we do, the Zoom once a month, that's very activating. I have people telling me that they're experiencing their senses opening and expanding, their abilities to mediumship and so forth coming on just from the grid. So it's a really beautiful space that I know you want this as well. We just want everyone to be free, right? We want everyone to have the best life possible, to understand that that's available to them. And this is the way I make a living. So this is the way I do pay my mortgage, and I do pay for my car, and I do put food on my table and all of that. So it is a job that I offer a service and ask for a return on that. But I always try to find a way to give it as a give back method as well. So thank you for bringing up the book.
You do that very well. Yes,
Thank
you do.
you. Thank you.
I mean, I have the spiritual community of my own, and I have introduced Acasma to them. And many of them have ventured over and joined the pods, and I have bought the book myself for several of them in my community.
Oh, you're so
That's
good.
how much I believe in this. I'm sure they're tired of me talking about Acasma. No, they're not. They're not. They're coming along with me.
I
So
love that. And for anyone who's really brand new to what we're talking about, you may be the first video you're ever seeing of mine on this channel, and this understanding being given of a Cosma. If I could sum it up and it's very hard to do because it's so vast, it's so big, it's very hard to do, but I'm gonna sum up best I can to convey to you what we're talking about. It's like if we could imagine us at a future space of ourselves that has healed itself, that has remembered itself, that has awakened to itself in its understanding of itself as eternal and as powerful and as divine. And it is able to connect back through what we see as time, dimensions, separation of space, however you're looking at it. A cosmic consciousness is like a bridge through that, from that us to this us. So it's us. So people say, oh, is this another religion? Is this like a God I'm going to put this faith in and in blah, blah, blah? No, this is learning how to put faith in you. This is learning how to trust you, because in essence, we teach in Acasma that we are all spaces of that God or that divine or that I am that is experiencing itself through all of the various ways in all the individuals and consciousnesses. So that's like a quick snap of what a Cosma is. It's a healing modality. People receive physical healing, emotional healing, mental healing. She's Barbie spoke beautifully about her son's experience with it. That seems to be like on all levels of the body, the physical, the mental,
yes.
emotional, every bit of it. I also know that it's on a level of his consciousness. That's why we call it a cosmic quantum energy, because we're understanding ourselves as more than a physical space. We're more than one lifetime or several lifetimes in physical formats as humans. We are consciousness itself, the space of origination ever expanding through all of its experiences. And so when we do a cosmic quantum energy, it's for the physical now form, like you see me here and you see Barbie and you see yourself in the mirror. But then it's also for all the other spaces of ourselves that we are outside of this form, in our eternalness, in our soul, in our consciousness, in our spirit. So it's a really beautiful healing modality and ascension assistance modality and bridge to us. It came in 2020. So interestingly enough, with the connection spaces of your story as well, Barbie, there was understanding of it coming prior. Yes. And I do shout sometimes that nothing's wrong. I do change my tone sometimes. It's an influx of energy, and it's a connection with the higher heart, higher mind spaces of us communicating through. So it started happening before 2020, but that was it, I believe, the space of us making space for us. So getting me ready to share it, getting me ready to write it, getting me ready to teach it. And then everybody that was going to connect with it's just been finding their way. All of a sudden they're like, I see this woman on TikTok or YouTube or wherever it is, and they just know. Let me ask you this, Bobby. Maybe you've shared it before, but would you share it again if you haven't or have? How did you connect the first time with me in this space?
On TikTok,
Okay. Okay.
I've seen you doing a live with Tyel.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
And then I bought your book. So let me just share a little bit of how I got into the healing. I was in a meditation, and all of a sudden, Archangel Michael came to me and took me to one of the young ladies in my community that was a good friend of mine. Took me to her in a room and had me move energy. Showed me how. Never done it before. I didn't know what was going on, but I listen and I do what I'm told. I trust. I just trust them because I know they have my best and highest good in mind. So he showed me to move the energy and then how to focus the energy and just bring it through source, come through me, out my hands, and focused on her belly, and on her leg, her foot. And then all of a sudden, after I moved the energy, that's when all of a sudden it was like zoop. We were far away, and it was like zoop. They brought me to my room where I was, and she was standing in front of me, and that's when they had me focus on it. It's when he had me call in Archangel Raphael, Mother Mary, and Yeshua. So that was my healing team to start with. And he showed me how energy comes from them and through my hands. And I did what I did. And then when I got out, I'm like, what is this? What just happened? So I called her and I said, Devin, you're never going to believe what just happened. And she says, Barbie, did you just do this like a half an hour ago? And I'm like, yes. And she said, I was in the middle of an ultrasound because she's pregnant. During her pregnancy, she has trouble with and has to wear a boot on her foot. So she says, I was in the middle of an ultrasound and the room was dark, and all of a sudden the whole room lit up with bright white light. And then it just went away. And I'm like, oh my gosh, for real? I'm like, this is tripping me out. So then the next day she said her foot wasn't hurting and she took it off and she hasn't had to wear it since.
Beautiful.
How I've been guided to connect is to go out in the yard, imagine my root lines from my soul. So I take them from my heart space and I take them down my body, down my legs, out my feet, and deep into Mama Gaia, all the way to the center core. And I wrap them around the crystals and I feel her heartbeat. And then I take them from my soul roots from my heart space, and I go up and I connect into the universe. When I read your book, when I started reading, and I'm like, this is exactly what I have been doing. I just call in source energy, but I never knew what it was. And then when I read the beginning of your book about your childhood and the things that you went through, I was like, I feel like I'm talking to myself, like I'm reading my story.
Yes, that's so beautiful.
And that's when I messaged you. I emailed you and I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've just met my twin sister from another place, you know? Every time, and I would say the reason that I feel that I've been doing Acasma and that it's just been part of me is because when I would try to look for the wrong in somebody, it didn't feel right to me.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't feel right. I don't like anything that's negative. Mm-hmm. Nothing negative is allowed in me. And that's what I can say with Acasma is you stay high vibrational because it's a higher dimensional energy. So when you live it, you stay it. You stay high vibed. You just, the negativity just is not even allowed in your area. It's just beautiful. It is just beautiful.
Thank you.
For like the healings, if people with the multidimensional healing, you can heal somebody, but if they don't stay on that vibration, it's gonna come back. Mm-hmm. But when you use the Acasma, it stays vibrational higher than what they were.
Yes.
So,
and sometimes it is incremental for the patient or the client. I have seen that where they will heal and they will shift, but they will then have to maintain it. Like they have to choose, because that's sovereignty and free will. We can realign somebody, but then they have to choose to walk in it. And I love Yeshua, Jesus. He has that quote. He healed the man and then he said, go and sin no more, lest something greater come upon you. And it wasn't about sin and heaven and hell and all of that. It was about go and live in a different way, because whatever you were doing got you here. And if you don't want to be here again, don't do what you did. Do something different, you know? So that's a really big teaching in Acasma. And I love that you brought in how we do look for what is right and how how you're working and you're being you're implementing him in a life. It's not just like you do a session and then you go back to being somebody else and then you do a session. You're just this
Um,
Acasma person when you do a session. Acasma is a way of life. And in order to function from that space of consciousness and energy when you're doing a session, it has to be a way of life. If you're in and out of it, um, you're not processing and functioning as that consciousness, as that space. So there's a lot of teachings in Acosma on how to implement and be a new human. That's another really big difference with this modality.
right.
AQE1
And that's
alone.
it. If you're living it, you heal spaces in you every day. So
Hmm.
you become the new human every day.
Yes, the born
You are
again
a new version
every
of
day.
yourself each and every day because you are healing different spaces in you every day.
Yeah.
Um, and I will tell you that I feel so much better now. And I I'm a walking miracle because I used to have MS.
Mm.
There's no known cure for MS in the human, humanity here. Okay. But my scans are clear. I
Oh,
do not have MS anymore. I have healed myself from ADHD. I have healed myself from OCD, fibromyalgia. I have, and that's with a Cosma. I'm able to expand to being limitless. I do not label anything.
good.
When you put a label on it, you put a cap on it, and then that's where it stays.
You become that. Hmm.
Right. And since a Cosma, I am just so open. I'm limitless,
I love it.
powerful.
Limitless,
Nobody can stop
powerful.
me.
I love it. Yes, yes, yes. So it's a really big space to convey in 29 minutes, but we did a wonderful job, I think, of sharing what we can share. I know you're available. I'm available. If there's questions, people can comment on the video below. Barbie will check them, I'm sure, and she'll comment
Sure.
back if they're directed to her and there's something she would be able to answer. She'll feel comfortable answering. You can email me. You can join our pods. Barbie is in the Sacred Joy pod, correct,
Yeah.
Barbie? Yes. So there's 4 pods, but if you want to be in Barbie's pod, if you have a connection here and you feel like a resonance with Barbie, you can go to my website, sacredexpansion.com, and on the front page, there's a button that says join the free community. And you can just make note you'd like to be in Barbie's pod, and I'll shoot you over to the Sacred Joy pod. It's a beautiful pod. We have 4 pods, they're all amazing. We have 4 amazing women that work with me and run the pods. And then we have a lot of beautiful family members like Barbie and others who are filling these pods with love. And Barbie's in every one of them, I think, giving love this way and another. She's always sharing art and oracle cards and inspiration and encouragement. You really are a vibrant being of light. Thank you for your presence in
Thank
this
you.
space. Very, very
Thank
grateful. Thank you for being open to share your story and the understanding of the journey that you've had with your son and even with your own self and spaces you've navigated. I know many can relate, and it helps when we share. You and I were talking about that the other day as well. It
you.
helps
Yes.
when we share and we understand that we are ever expanding beings, and we can keep expanding and keep exploring and keep learning and keep growing, if we will just allow ourselves to do so. So, Acosma would like to meet everyone right where they're at, whether you know nothing about energy and about consciousness, or whether you have been doing this for 30, 40, 50 years. Acosma meets everybody right where they're at. And
Sure does.
then just assists in the continued expansion of you. So, all right, we're going to put this video together and share it with you guys on YouTube. And you comment below, like it, share it, all those good things, and reach out to us. We would love to speak to you. We would love to connect with you. We'll bless this
Yes.
space as we close. Iarasuko eya na raka ia na toa. Tabe ye yana nea. Tabe ye yana nea. Toboaye, toboaye, Blessings upon you, Bobby. Blessings upon you all. Thank you.
You too. Pokohane.
Pokohane, pokohana, pokohana.